Well, hello and welcome back to the channel. I thought today I would go ahead and make a video on my paper painting technique. I talked about this in the last video that I did, which is the sort of the intro to my Junk Journal Psalter project, and these pages are going to go in there. And in that video I kind of promised to show this technique, sort of a distressing and painting technique. If you remember from that, I had these are just JPEGs of manuscripts from Wikimedia that I found, and they were just printed out onto plain white copy paper, and in that video I showed them and they just had plain white margins. Some of them had really wide margins like this one. And so now I've distressed them, gone through and done all of these. They're all dry now. So I have those, and then I have these that are all just plain white copy paper that I've distressed to get a particular color. I'm going for a color scheme in this junk journal. And so you can see what I have here. Sort of the green and pink, and then sort of just a brown. It's like a cool brown. And then these are 12 by 12 scrapbook paper that were just plain weight paper, one-sided scrapbook stuff that I've painted and distressed. And so let me show you how I get this effect. It's very simple and just very inexpensive materials to do it. And so let me show you how I get this. Okay, so here's my super fancy supplies that I have for painting my pages the way I do. So I have just some cheap cosmetic sponges, and then I have some sort of like natural sea sponges. We'll get to that. I use these. I've got some gloves. I'm going to try to use the gloves. I end up usually just getting paint all over my fingers, but then it looks terrible. So I'm going to use the gloves, and I'll probably get frustrated with them and take them off and whatever. Anyways, try to use the gloves to keep my hands from looking so nasty, especially when we're using brown paint. Got some paper towels. I have a little cup of water, and then I have some little containers. And so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a plastic fork here. I'm going to take some of this brown acrylic paint, and some of this is probably satin. Oh, these are all satin. I've got satin, I've got gloss, whatever. It doesn't even matter. I even have chalk paint, which I really like to use. Today I'm just going to use this stuff. I'm going to mix up a little bit of brown. This also brings to mind, see, I already got it on me. Just opening the bottle and I already got it on me. I have baby wipes too, which are dried out. Already got it on me. And under the fingernail. Anyway, so I put a little blob of the acrylic paint there. Okay, let's put the gloves on. Okay, I got the little blob of acrylic paint, and this is, you know, there's no measuring. This is so not about measuring. Now I'm going to add some water. Really what I'm wanting here is just, I want to thin it. That's really what I'm after, is to get it kind of a, I really want it kind of a watery consistency. Just like that. About like that. Then let's do a little green. Oops, I didn't shake this one. A little bit of that green, and we'll tone it down with a little bit of this. Whatever. This is something you gotta play with. Oh yeah, let's do some pink too. Now, what I'm going for, this brings to mind another topic about the overall project here, which is color scheme. For color scheme on this project, what I'm really going for is sort of a dusty pink and sort of an olive green to mint green, sort of in that color range. I'm not going to be very strict about that color scheme, just because I don't want to limit myself. I have another little cup of water here that I'm going to use to rinse off my little fork. Not that it matters. Like if I get some of that brown in there, that is not a problem. It's not a crisis. I'm going to add a little of that. In fact, I may even add some brown to this because I want it to be a little dingy. Yeah, that's a little too bright and perfect. So we're going to add a little bit of brown to that. It's one of the things I like about the acrylic paints because they just mix really well. You can really kind of play with the color and you don't have to do anything special. You can just throw some in and see what happens. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm going for. Still kind of a greenish kind of color, but very drab. Okay, doesn't even have to be mixed all the way to be nice. Now the pink, again, I'll add some water, and to the pink I will add just a little tiny bit of brown to that. That'll also make that kind of dingy. So that's basically the color scheme I'm going for, but yeah, as I said, not being real strict to it. Okay, now, kind of got these mixed up a little here. Now I'm gonna try to pace myself and do one color at a time because I get a little carried away and then I end up with a mess. So now I'm going to take my thing that I printed out here and I'm going to take one of these sponges and I'm just going to dip that in there. And just go on those margins where it's just stark white. And just kind of mess that up. Now on the back side I also have this thing to sort of protect my mat. Prefer a nice big piece of cardboard, but I don't really have any handy. And you can really get kind of creative with how you apply this. You know, you get different designs if you do squiggles or circles or blotting or whatever. You can kind of play with this, but this method is not going to disrupt the print, but it is going to give me sort of an aged effect here. And so we just want to get rid of that stark white. That's really all I'm going for. So there's one. That'll just take a few minutes to dry, and you can see the front. You can still see the image. It's still fine. And we'll go on to the next one. Trying to stick with one color at a time here. And I'll kind of go on some of them kind of around the edges so that it's not just, you know, nothing too stark. And on the back. This is fun, by the way. Some things with junk journaling, like sewing in signatures, not as much fun as other aspects of it. This is pretty fun. And easy and cheap. These acrylic paints you can get, you know, at Walmart, or even the dollar store has them. Same thing with the cosmetic sponges. You know, it's not, you know, we're talking about some copy paper. Like, this is not fancy supplies. And so, and there we have another one. Done just like that. Okay. Okay, on this sheet I also want to show, like, this is the printed side. And you can kind of swab this with the paint, and the print will still be okay. I'll do the back, which is already getting done by how messy my surface is here. And the text still is okay. Okay, I finished up the last of the brown. Let's see, let's do this. Some paper towels here. I'm not too worried about making everything perfect. I do kind of want to wipe some of the paint off of the gloves and then off of this surface that I'm using, because I'm going to switch colors now. Okay, I just have some copy paper here. And you could, I mean, I showed you earlier this stuff. Okay, we're going to do the same basic technique. This is scrapbook paper. You could do it on anything. So I want 2 more sponges. So I'm going to do it 2 different ways here. I'm going to take some of the pink, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the brown. Oops, this is a little watery, a little more watery, which is going to give me a lighter color, basically. Okay, now I have a piece of green paper that I did before, or a piece of paper that I did with the green paint before, that's dry. And you'll notice that this paper really curls up, like, pretty severely when you do this. You end up with it being very curly. Now, you know, a pile of heavy books, or what I use is I just iron it, and it'll straighten it right out. It's a little annoying, but it's worth it for the effect. Anyway, so now I have this dry piece of green, and then I have these sort of like natural sea sponges. Here we go, this is better. Okay, so you can see this one has, that one's not bad probably, but this one will give a different effect. So this one's kind of like curved, and then it has like holes in it. What this is going to give me is a little more texture. And what I want to do, I want to take this pink paint. I want this to be a little bit thicker to get sort of a rich color. So for the pink, I'm going to add just a little more of that. Really what I'm doing is thickening it. I don't need more, but I want it thicker. A little more pink, a little more brown. Stir that a little bit. Kind of this yucky pink color. Now you can see it's a little thicker. Not thick by any means, but it's thicker. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this natural sponge and I'm going to pick up some of this paint, and we're going to suggest that there are some flowers in the corner here. Now you could do the same thing in reverse. You could have, you know, the pink. You could do this with green and then it kind of looks like leaves. And it all depends on the natural like sea sponge texture that you have. What kind of shape or whatever you get. And so you end up with that. Very fun, very cool. I've got some on. Let's see. Of course, you got to do this one side at a time if you want to do both sides. Gotta wait for that to dry. Okay, so now we'll do some green. The other thing about this technique that I didn't mention, I've tried it. I wanted some black paper, or you know, like black stains on some paper, and I made a thin solution similar to this and put it in a full like 9x13 pan and soaked paper in it like you would for coffee dye, and that works. And so you can just do that too if you don't want to like do this hand painting business. And this sort of mix that I made this morning is a little thin. And so this is going to result in less saturated. Hey, that's kind of cool. It's going to get messed up when I turn it over, but I'll do it on the other side. It's going to result in a less saturated color where this was a thicker paint, like less water to paint, and it gives you like a more saturated color. So that's something you can play with and stuff, but kind of a stem type of look. Plant stems or something. Blades of grass. Something like that. And watch me mess it up while I move the paper. These are going to be sort of my backgrounds for my signatures. And so an open page in my journal will look something like that, with the dot grid on one side, and then this as sort of a background on the other. You know, and I may very well glue like lined journal paper down on top of this so that I can use it as a writing space and note-taking space. I may, you know, put tags on this or pockets, or who knows how it's gonna, each page is gonna end up, but that's the general idea, is that I have these kind of pretty background pages. The next video I'm going to show you how I will hinge these, how I will put these together and start to compile my signatures together for this journal. And that's an area where in the past I tend to get in a rush, and I'm excited and I want to get it done, and so I get in a big rush and I kind of skip over some opportunities to do some really pretty decorating with that. I'm trying really hard not to do that. Some of these hinges that I'll do, which is basically where you just attach two pieces of paper like this, some of them I will just glue, and some of them I will sew. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it gave you some inspiration and some ideas, particularly with the painting. It's just super fun, super cheap, super easy way to just distress some paper. If you don't want to do a lot of coffee dyeing, or as I said, if you've printed this out and you don't want your print to get messed up, that's a good way of doing it. So until next time, I hope you all are well, and share your inspiration in the comments section if you're inspired, if you have any good ideas, because I know, like, this is one little idea, and I know people will, like, come up with such talented and amazing ideas about where to take a little idea like this, and people will just blow me away. So please, if you have any ideas, please share them in the comments. And until next time, we will see you later, and be blessed, and thank you for watching.